Welcome back to another edition of Nain's Shorts. Thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing with anyone you wish to annoy. Well, today's topic, what are we discussing? Well, Rick and I recently had the opportunity to, well, he did. I was just there for support more and also to get beat up a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. But we did a presentation, more of a lecture in front of a group of what I would consider active elderly people. And even though Rick himself is an elderly person, he was still the youngest elderly person there. 61, yeah. But we've all talked about Rick. We've all said mean things about him. Most of them true, but they just sound mean because they're true. And mobility is a big factor to why he does the things that he does, or more accurately, his lack of mobility is one of the big reasons why he does the things he does and the way he does them. And because this elderly group was active, there wasn't really much that we could show them in the sense of physicality, because they still were in their 70s and above, and we couldn't really have them doing a lot of physical things, definitely not in what is essentially a lecture room. So it really got us to thinking, or at least it got me thinking a lot about what becomes the important lessons that we get as students in our younger years, that we may or may not have completely understood or taken enough time to truly understand, that are going to help us when we inevitably reach that same age. Because a big part of what made these individuals so active was their mindset. They had a very active mindset. They wanted to learn new things. I mean, they showed up to something their group put together, having some martial artists talk to them about self-protection. And they came and they wanted to be there, and they even had announcements beforehand about other things that they're going to do, other events that they have planning, walks and exploring the campus of the college, or walking around the lake. And apparently they do these things on a regular basis, so they are moving. Their minds are still wanting that difference, that change, learn something new as they share information with one another. So to me, that was the biggest takeaway from seeing them, is that our mindset has to be a certain way where we're still open to things, we're still willing to learn. And a lot of what was said to them, they already knew, but they were happy to hear it again as a reminder, because, well, very simply, the things that you train most are the things that come out. And once you get to a certain age and you can't train physically, well, then shouldn't you train the ideas, the thoughts? Shouldn't you keep those fresh in your mind so they become a part of your daily habits? We always talk about the idea of awareness and just being present to whatever is happening, not overly distracting yourself so you can see something coming. So there are buffers that you can create. Oh, this distance from so-and-so, maybe I shouldn't walk that way, maybe I should go this way. Oh, somebody looks like they're really staring at you. Hey, what do? You start looking for different avenues, different things outside of what you were already intending to do to keep yourself safer. And it's something that a lot of these individuals already did, but they enjoyed being reminded or giving a different perspective on very similar ideas, because a lot of them are San Francisco residents. San Francisco nowadays isn't the nicest place to be walking around in the evening, especially for those who are elderly. We talked about the idea of what it's like when you look like a victim. You look like an easy target. And the elderly are definitely one that look like an easy target. So they understand that to a certain degree, but then getting told or being explained the differences or diving deeper into a bit of the psychology behind the attackers or would-be attackers. What do they look for? And they got a lot out of that, and they really seem to enjoy the conversation. But again, as someone who's 38, I had to think back a little bit. I don't remember my age, but I'm 38. But I one day hope to be 60, 70, 80, and hopefully in much better health than some people that I know that I will not mention. Because it's important. So for me, that health part, the exercise part, is crucial to my life, because I want to be able to still roll when I'm in my 60s and 70s. I still want to be able to train and do as much as I can that I'm able to do now, because I happen to be younger, because I still have some youth to me that I can put into my training. I don't want to lose that completely. So for me, that's an important aspect of it. And staying active, of course, is going to help me achieve that a lot better than not doing anything. And I don't mean just training martial arts. That's a given, but outside of that. But ultimately, my body will give out. My body will one day not respond the way that it used to or it does now. So what am I left with? What is there for me to then continue, one, passing on this information, and two, keep myself safe so I can continue passing on this information? And those are the concepts and habits that we start building because of the information that we have and the ideas that we practice and continue to learn and rehash in our minds, so then we can truly live those things and not just talk about them. So what are some of those ideas? Well, one, just paying attention. That's one thing that nowadays you see even. And folks, for those of you who don't know, I drive for a living. I drive a bus, so I sit pretty high up so I can see a lot of the traffic. And it doesn't matter the age. I've seen the elderly, I've seen young, and I've seen everyone in between literally driving with their phone right here in their hand, looking at it. And that's just a distraction. Sure, there isn't too many accidents that happen, but there's enough. And most of these people don't get into a collision while I'm there or while I see this happening, but it's still a distraction. And we've gotten so used to it. We've gotten so used to doing multiple things at the same time, or trying to do multiple things at the same time, that it's easy to just kind of forget. And once you get up in age and you have brain fog, or your faculties are just going away on you because of whatever reason, yeah, that becomes a lot harder to do and focus on something as simple as paying attention to what's around you. So that becomes an important thing to, one, teach people who are younger so they don't fall into those things and maybe can avoid it altogether later on. Body mechanics. Noticing that, hey, you're mobile, you still have that ability to move your limbs and step and raise it high enough, say about shin level. You're not throwing huge kicks, not trying to do anything crazy, but just enough. Just enough. So if you find yourself in a situation where it does become physical, where you have to do something significant to distract that person, to hurt them just enough so you can get the hell away or call for help, well, that doesn't necessarily require strength. My instructor for years has proven that it's not about the physical strength. It's about understanding your mechanics, but also understanding the limits that you have because of what's going on with your body. Because you are of a certain age, your mind may still be 15 years old, but your body isn't. And it won't be ever again. So how do we then adapt our understanding on movement So then it applies to somebody who doesn't have the same range of motion as you do. Or what about you? What do you do when you're injured and you lose your range of motion? How do you take what you know and you make it work? And then for those who are instructors, if you were put in front of a room of elderly people in their 70s or up, eager to be there, eager to listen to what you have to say, what would you say? What would you emphasize? What would you teach them? Would you have them moving around, warming up, getting on the floor and throwing a few punches? Would you have them trying takedowns, throws? What would you show them that still falls in line with your teaching, still falls in line with the things that you know and understand and trust to be true? So they can take something worthwhile. Hopefully they remember it, but they're in their 70s, so who knows? They might meet you again for the first time, 3 or 4 times afterwards, but what would you show them? Because it really then falls upon you, the individual, like it did for me, to start wondering, what would I do in that situation? I wasn't giving the lessons. I wasn't the one talking up there. But if I was asked to, would I? And if I say yes, what would I actually talk about? And can I say it with enough confidence that these individuals who have lived a long life, who are stuck in their ways, who would rather do things their own way than because it's worked for them for 60, 70 years already, are they really going to listen to me? Or do I really have to wait until I'm nice and gray like some other people for them to take me seriously? Because ultimately that's the first thing people judge is, all right, this young person is going to tell me what to do. They don't understand what's going on. And can I, as being as young as I am, truly understand the limitations that come with getting older? Or is it one of those things that you just have to wait till you get there and find out the hard way? I kind of refuse that part because I truly do want to understand. I mean, I've been told that part of teaching is really understanding the person that you're teaching as much as you can. Not just what they know, what they don't know, what they're not capable of doing, what they are capable of doing. And that particular experience showed all those concepts and ideas from the instructor standpoint, and I wasn't at all. I wanted to understand so much more, and it got me thinking beyond what I know. And folks, there seems to be so much more that I don't know, and I'm eager to learn it, but it isn't until we get into these moments that we can truly see it. So if it's something you've considered, something you've thought about, then hopefully this gets you on that track to really start looking beyond what you're able to do and what you know. And how would that help you then grow or reach a wider audience? Because I'm not there yet. I really am not. And I have a long way to go before I consider myself a proficient instructor. But here we are, trying, asking questions, and waiting for some of you kind people to share some of your answers, because you may have more experience than me, and you definitely have a hell of a lot more knowledge than I do. So to get that back and help me understand, I greatly appreciate it. So folks, thank you for joining me on another one of Nain Shorts. I had a great time. I hope you took something away from it, and if not, send it to somebody so they can also not get anything out of the video. But I do appreciate you watching. So, to the next one. 3, 2, 1, cut!